everyone. Today we will be transforming quadratic function from the parent graph given the vertex form. So what's going on here is that we are given the parent graph. So this is the shape of the parent graph. This is the parent equation, y equals x squared. Now our task today is to graph this equation that we have here in vertex form. Now others may ask, how did you get the parent graph and the parent equation? How do you sketch that graph? There is another video on this. I will put the link of that video in the description box below. So the vertex form or graphing form is the one that we use this in order that we can sketch a graph that is similar to this of the parent graph. So parts of the graphing form or the vertex form, first we have an A. Our A will tell us the stretch factor. It will also tell us when the graph opens up, it's a positive A. When the graph opens down, it's a negative A. The H and the K here is the vertex or the locator points. Now here's another thing. When we transform graph, our H actually tells us where we move left or right. And then the K will tell us to move the graph up or down. So when the H is positive, then we go right. If the H is negative, we go left. When the K is positive, we go up. When the K is negative, we go down. Let's have the first example here to better understand what this is. So first we're gonna determine this H because the H is gonna tell us left or right. So we remember that if we rewrite this is supposed to be x minus. That's the operation minus, and that should have been a positive 1, and then that is a squared. So then it means that our H is actually positive 1. And if we say positive, then it goes to the right. And then since this is a positive 4, we go up. So we go up 1. We go right 1 from the vertex. We go right 1. We go up 1. And the negative here tells us that the graph opens down. So these are the important information that the vertex form or graphing form will tell us. So I have here a wax paper where I sketch the graph of the parent function or the parent graph of the quadratic function. So what are we going to do here is that it says the rule here that we go 1 step to the right and 4 steps up, and it's gonna open down. So that means from here we are going to translate. Translate means we move the original graph. By the way, in all of the examples that we have here, our A would be 1. So all the A's are 1. The purpose for this is we just wanted to have the idea of how to transform a graph. So we got right 1 and 4 up. So 1, right 1, 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where the graph is gonna sit, but instead it says it's a negative A. So we flip it. It's gonna be opening downwards. So that means this is the translated graph. So I'm just gonna sketch the graph right here. So then I will trace this up. So again, our A here is a negative 1. So in all of the examples that we will have all A's would be 1. So this is the equation for this graph is y equals, that's negative, parentheses, x minus 1 squared plus 4. So we translated it. Now, this is a paper version of translation. There is another version, the digital version, where I was using Desmos to move the graph around. I will put the link of that video in the description box below. So we move on to the next example right here. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try these problems out on your own. And when you're done, pause it and check your answer. Okay, so we are going to determine the H and the K, so we know where do we go left, right for the h, and then up or down for the k. So originally, this equation right here is x minus, then the 2 here should have been a negative 2. So that's how we got the positive right there. So negative and a negative makes it positive. So then our for the h here, our h here should have been a negative 2. That means we go to the left, and then this is a negative 3. We go down, and then the a here is positive 1. Then this opens upward. So this is these are the important information that we have to remember to sketch in order that we can translate this graph. So first, we are going from the parent graph. So the parent graph is right here. I'm going to translate 2 steps to the left. By the way, the fastest way to, I have given this trick already, the fastest way to determine the h is we switch the sign of this. Whatever this is, if that is a positive, the h was actually a negative 2. If this was a negative, the h was actually positive. So just switch it. So that's the fastest way. But then again, I showed the work here on how did it came out to be positive in between the x and the 2. So okay, so 2 to the left and 3 down. So that would be 1 and 2. And then we go 3 down, 1, 2, and 3. So this is where the graph is gonna sit. So I am going to sketch the graph right now. So this is the shape of this, the equation of, so this equation will have this graph down here. So I am going to, I'm going to trace this graph here, and I will label the equation for this graph. So again, the graph moved 2 steps to the left and 3 steps down, because that is what the equation is telling us. So the equation for this graph is y equals x plus 2 squared minus 3. Did you get the same shape as this? Good. Perfect. Now let's move on to the third graph. So first, we always remember our h is a positive. So our h here is positive 3. So we're just gonna switch it, or you can show it this way. It doesn't really matter. So h is positive 3. This means, or this is telling us that we are moving the parent graph to the right. So that is a positive. So we're moving it to the right. The negative 1 here tells us that we are moving the graph down 1 step. And this is a negative here. This is telling us that the graph opens downward. Okay. So first, we are going to sketch the graph. So the parent graph is right there. It's sitting on 0, 0 at the point of origin. So we're going to move the graph 3 steps right, 1, 2, and 3. And then 1 step down, 1. And then this is gonna open downward since it is negative. So this is where the graph is gonna sit. So this is the translated graph right here. And then the equation for this graph again is up there. So this is the vertex and this is the graph. And then again, the equation for this graph now is y equals negative x minus 3 squared minus 1. Did you get the same graph as this? Good. Perfect. If you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!